But even, you know, like, sorry, I lost what I wanted to say in the beginning. But I think, you know, did somebody remember where I wanted to go? What was I saying before? Everything was publicly funded. Nobody's following, that's really bad. Yeah, that's really complicated. But in any case, you know, so publicly, you know, we don't have, oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. We don't have help from the government to find internships. That's something that's, I think is very, I don't know if it's unique to Hong Kong or if it happens in other like countries of the region or what happens in mainland China. I don't know how it is, but you never have any arm of the government that would have allocate grants for organization to actually pay your salary as an intern. Most of the internships in the US and in Europe are either unpaid or like small stipend. But it's a game. You have to do it because, you know, if you don't do your 6-month internship before and after your master's degree or after your bachelor, you're not going to get the job. But so it's interesting to hear a little bit about the differences, I think, of those like, you know, regions of the world. And I think if you're trying to make it as an art administrator, specifically abroad, you have to be very aware of like those differences because you don't want to burn any bridges and you don't want to, you know, go away and go about it the wrong way and actually have a waste of your time and have a waste of your resources. So I think through those, like, you know, 3 kind of main points, and that's what we talk with, you know, our students and young professionals, you know, you're trying to get and understand what is the strategic investment of your resources and like create a map with those resources by listing what are the possibilities for you in order to navigate the arts administration world. And I think it's very important to be business-minded about it and to add a methodology because the art, you know, a lot of people are just going and flowing through it and kind of not really being so business-minded and being like, you know, using tools and methodology to get there. And I think that's a shame, and that's, you know, why I really, you know, launched this program, is that I wanted to give the chance to young professionals and students to have a clearer view of their path and their possibilities and really give back, because that's, you know, the program that I wish I had when I first came to New York and I had no network, you know, and I wanted to have another experience in an art hub. I wish there was a program that kind of helped me and coached me and opened the door to that industry. So that's the reason why, you know, I launched Artbound Initiative, and I also, like, you know, regularly coach young professionals and help them to kind of identify, you know, those paths. And so, you know, I wanted to share some of those examples with you today. And I'd like to open it up now to questions, because, you know, if you have anything that, you know, would like to talk further about, or if you have any questions about the program or other opportunities in the US or that in Europe that I did not mention, you know, please go ahead. And thank you so much for your attention.
Any questions that you want to discuss?
Yes.
It's about the visa. How do you convince all your partners to sponsor visas?
So what I've done is that the past 6 months, I've worked with a visa partner in the US that's called Cultural Vistas, and I've worked with them to build a new process for the internship visa to make it very little for the organization. The bad news is I have a lot of work to do, because I became the host company representative by doing that. So basically, I was able to shrink down the process for the organizations to just a formula, a 3-page formula that they have to fill, and then 1 visit from the visa partner who's appointed by the Department of State to issue those visa. And that is the reason why I'm able to convince those museums, those theaters, those galleries, and saying like, hey, so you're going to sponsor a visa, but it will be easy and it will be a 3-page formula. If I did not do that, it would have been impossible for me to convince. Because why? When you do an internship visa, the partner is going to call you the first time, hey, I'm the partner, let's take like 25 minutes of your time to talk about like what it means to sponsor an internship visa. And then, hey, here are like 10 formulas for you to like fill. And then, oh, by the way, I'm also going to come visit you, so can you make some time in your schedule to do that? And then I'm going to check in on you every 2 weeks to ask about what's going on with the intern. So that's like a lot of work for the organizations. And for the huge ones, it could be fine, but for the smaller you know, specifically, for example, galleries, right? Galleries, even the huge one like Perrotin or like Gagosian Gaussian, they have maybe, 10 employees top. They have no HR department, like it's, those are small organizations. They have zero time to do this, they're not interested in doing that. So that's why, when I created this, it took me a very long time to create that process, but it was, for me, it was impossible to do it without this process. So that's why now I created this, little form, and I'm doing most of the work on the end, where I'm like, doing all the research on the organization, sending it to the visa partner. I have to create a training plan that I'm sending. So, it was a lot of work on my end to be able to do this, but I really wanted to do it, because if not, they make it so complicated for people from abroad to come in the US, and it doesn't make sense to me, because when you're highly educated, obviously you're going to contribute to the cultural environment, you're going to contribute to the economy. Why aren't they welcoming us? Specifically, it's the land of immigrants, the US. They're all based on immigration. So, that's how I did it. For Germany, it's a little bit different. It's a work authorization, and I've done it with the same partner actually, and it's easier. I have to say, like in Germany, if you want to get an internship visa, it's going to be like a few forms for the company, but nothing like crazy like in the US, where they're just completely nuts about it.
So anyone has done this internship since you launched this program?
Yeah. Yeah, so right now, I launched this program, on the Berlin Collective. So we've placed with the Berlin Collective over 200 students in Berlin. And with this new program, I haven't, because I stopped all our operations for the past 6 months, because I needed time to make all those partnerships in place, and really partner with all those organizations. But we have a lot of inquiries, and I think we'll have probably a group of 20-25 students for this summer, and young professionals. So it's starting slowly but surely. I think it's definitely a gap. There was nobody doing that before, and it was quite complicated. So I think it will definitely, I hope it will be successful for people that are in majors like, fine arts, cultural management, arts administration, non-for-profit management, drama, performing arts, all of those majors, I think, and people that are in those fields will be, I think, interested in coming and doing some having a work experience there, because basically we're cheaper than a school. That's the thing. It's like a lot of people, when they come in and they want to go work somewhere or immigrate somewhere, the easier way is to do a school. But in the US, a school is like, the cheapest maybe program that I found in New York City was $30,000 for a master, and that is like the lamest school you can even think about. No network, nothing. And we're like, we're less than $10,000, for the program. It is very expensive, but it is less than a school. So we're opening the door for people, and once you're in the US with a visa, then it's up to you to make it. That's how I started. I started on an internship visa. I have a green card now, 5 years later, but I worked my way, and I networked, and I was able to make it. And all I needed was just this door open, and just somebody to give me a chance and sponsor me. So I think that's really why I launched this program, is that I wanted to help students, and young professionals like me back in the days where, all I wanted is to be in New York City and work in the arts. And I think a lot of people do want to do that as well.
So are you guys planning to go overseas? Is there a particular city that you're interested to know more?
So we talked a little bit.
Yeah, I'm interested in Berlin.
In Berlin, yeah. No, Berlin is definitely one of the coolest cities I've ever been to. It's underground. Actually, artists live there, and I live there comfortably. The art market is not, as we were saying, it's not very commercial, but it is definitely I think a really big art hub. And in Europe, one of the hottest cities for sure. Everybody wants to be in Berlin. Now the new hot city in Europe is Lisbon, in Portugal. And everybody now wants to go to Lisbon, so that's a place you should also. It's not in my program. I shouldn't say that, but it's a very good place, and I think it's a lot of also the culture and the arts are very vibrant there. And obviously London, I think, is and Paris also. Sorry, I'm from Paris. I should say Paris as well. But Paris is a little bit more complicated, I think, for people that don't speak French. they're still not. Germany, very, very good English speakers. Everybody speaks perfect English. But it's still very complicated to find an opportunity if you don't speak German. The partners that I have, they accepted, but it was very difficult for us to find those that are like, okay, sure, we'll have somebody that doesn't speak German at all, because of course the day-to-day operation is in German. And actually, I'm planning to open Hong Kong as a third location. So it will be also interesting to kind of identify partners here, and I'm already talking to a few organizations. And obviously, HKAAA will be definitely crucial in this development as well, to bring American students, European students to do internships in Hong Kong, because now the market here, and I know the art world is small, but I think you have a very dynamic market, and you have when I go to performing arts conferences in the US, honestly half of the people there are from mainland and from Hong Kong. Like, it's crazy. So there's so many back and forth happening, and I think a lot of Europeans and Americans want to come to Hong Kong. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of Hong Kongers want to get out, because the grass is always greener, right? But I think it will be interesting for us to have a location in Europe, one in the US, and one in Asia, and developing more of those connections between those hubs, and building a new generation of very globally minded arts professionals. I think that's really the main goal, and you cannot, I think, want to have a very high-level career without being global nowadays, and specifically in the arts, I would say, you have to know what's going on out there, and if you want to make it in performing arts, you have to be looking at what's going on in New York City, in London, and I think, and the art world, obviously, also Singapore, Mexico City, in New York, Paris, there's Venice, all of those, you need to know, you need to be sharp about that, and I think that's really one thing that I hope everybody gets out after this talk. Is like, you gotta be looking out a little bit in the world, and I'm sure you all do, because you guys are all here, so obviously you're all interested already about the international aspect of the arts.
So you're welcome to stay behind and talk with Laura. And just before you all go mingle, we will have a Cantonese program next month about fundraising and arts capacity. So we have President from Hazen Foundation, and also Mr. Vincent Choi, who is our expert in the branding. So please take a look. And also, if you are not our member yet, you're welcome to join and enjoy the benefits to watching different arts performances in Hong Kong. So thank you very much, Laura.
Thank you everyone.
Thank
you. Thanks so much for everything. Yeah, for sure. So many.
係啊，我 pause 一 pause 佢先。